I'm Bob Ramirez, and we are at the Untitled Tongva Sacred Springs, otherwise known as Kuruvungna, which is an ancient village of the Tongva. And people have been living here for thousands of years because of this beautiful resource, this natural spring water that's bubbling out of the ground right here. Kuruvungna means place where we are in the sun. We have other place names throughout LA that are important to know about, that many people are familiar with, such as Topanga, Cahuenga, Tahunga, and now Kuruvungna. It's a magical, special place, and we welcome everybody to Kuruvungna. Native plants are the essential ingredient here at Kuruvungna. It's what this place is about. Native plants are sacred to our people, the Tongva, the descendants even. I think people feel it in nature when they go into nature, in a native environment. If they don't resist too much, they find that they're part of that nature. So native plants, they belong here, and we don't have to irrigate them, we don't have to use pesticides, we don't really have to amend the soil, we don't have to do much to take care of them, and they provide the habitats that we need for the pollinators, the birds, and all the other creatures we're trying to reintroduce. They're woven into the animals that we want to welcome back into Kuruvungna, like these birds and these lizards and the arroyo chub even, the frogs, the tree frogs. All these creatures live together with these native plants. In terms of the design, the layout, the first step in design was to really understand the site. And so we got a professional surveyor to do an 8-scale survey of the entire bounded areas here. So we understood the elevations, we understood where the hardscape was, and then we had to map out what we have to work with in terms of infrastructure. So we have this unique opportunity to bring in a whole palette of native plants that are probably unfamiliar with many native plant enthusiasts, I would imagine. So we focused on those elements, the riparian and the aquatics, and everything that we have done here in terms of removal of invasives and the leaves and the muck from the pond, we have transformed into very rich, nutritious compost. So almost nothing leaves the site. Everything else is recycled and used to nurture the soil. Probably the most significant thing that we've done is to use the spring water for irrigation, not just flooding with gravity, flooding areas out, but using a solar-powered water pump. So we're able to move 320 gallons an hour when the sun is shining up to our agricultural zone. It shows what we can do with not a lot of money, but a lot of volunteers, and especially significant help from the Theodore Payne Foundation. What is nature in the urban environment? People are living in smaller and smaller places. We're disconnected from nature because we're living in these cities. But if we stop and think about it, there is a deep, ancient connection that humans have with their animals and with their plants, because these are our non-human relatives. And here at Kuruvungna, we encourage that way of thinking by allowing volunteers to participate in the cultivation and the maintenance of our gardens, of our spaces, creating relationships with the plants that they're putting into the ground. Knowing when they come back in a year or 10 years or with their grandchildren, they'll be able to point to a particular plant that's now a tree and feel this deep connection with that. And everybody is happy to join in and participate because I think there's a deep human need to get connected with the earth. That's what I've seen here in our efforts. My favorite part of Kuruvungna is the peace, I would say. For me, this is a sanctuary, and it's a garden, it's a temple, it's a church, and it's a sacred place where our ancestors are buried. And I feel very fortunate and blessed, I suppose is a word you could throw in there, to be able to be the caretaker of this magnificent site for as long as I can hold out. It is a lot of work, but it's a great honor and a privilege and an obligation as well to maintain the site. My favorite part of this is actually the spring. There's no question, because this would not exist if we didn't have this gift of water bubbling up out of the ground. And this water, by the way, is pure and clean and unpolluted. It's a sacred element. It's life itself.